A heartfelt congratulations to Dr. Nasha and his team from USM on the recent discovery of a life-size, almost complete Buddha statue from Bukit Choras in Kedah. This is a win not just for Malaysians, but for all of us students of East, South, and Southeast Asian history. But in typical Malaysian fashion, a quick search on various social media reports on this news, and you will invariably find bickering and passive-aggressive comments. From who first settled Kedah to whether it's a Buddhist or a Hindu kingdom, to the superficial connection to Greco-Buddhist art from centuries earlier, in a curious attempt to extrapolate towards the Occident. All of these noises perhaps is a reflection of our poorly narrated national identity, now torn in opposite quarters of race, religion, and toxic identity politics. Irreconcilable, each quarter creating an echo chamber for its own audiences. While I see the tourism ministry taking advantage of this limelight casted on the event, I can't help but feel that an opportunity should not go to waste here. Now, if I'm a politician, freed from the temporal concerns of winning quinquennial elections, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me to weave the fabric of our national narrative towards a more inclusive chapter. Now, of course, leaving my name watermarked in every page to come. After all, what better way to elevate the status and standings of the Malays amidst two of the most ancient people in the world than having a near complete 1,200 years old statue unearthed in a country with so few archaeological artifacts from the past? The narrator could weave the Malays into a position of negotiator or mediator between the major powers of the region, firmly placing the relevance of the Malay within the grand chronicles of the Chinese and the Indians. The Dravidians also have experienced long periods of oppression and subsequent crushing poverty under the mismanagement of the British Raj. And you can see that there is a need for recognition of their past glory. What better way to build bridges and rally the Indian communities by officially recognizing the influence of South India on this nascent, fledgling Malay polity? And if the Cholas leaves a bad taste in the mouth, especially considering its role in the decline of Srivijaya, there is always the Pallavas, which seems to be getting some academic traction in pushing its influence on the region. And to tie in the Chinese into this propaganda, the statue being of the Mahayana school of Buddhism is already low-hanging fruit at this point. But I like a challenge and I never go for the low-hanging fruit. So let's try to tie the Pallavas through old Kedah to the Chinese. You see, everyone associates Mahayana Buddhism with the Chinese. Its iconography, aesthetics, practices are all internalized into the Chinese psyche. While most know that Shaolin Temple is the birthplace of Zen Buddhism and, of course, Chinese Kung Fu. And from there, Japanese karate and taekwondo and so on. Few knows that the founder of Zen Buddhism, and thus Kung Fu by extension, was brought to China by this monk called Bodhidharma, a Pallava prince. And he went to China not by the Silk Road overland, as how Buddhism was traditionally spread to China, but rather by the sea route. And if Bodhidharma went to China by sea, stopping at Bukit Choras as an early Mahayana Buddhist teaching center would not be a stretch to imagine. There, I've just connected Malay mediatory role to the post-classical Dravidian Golden Ages, to Zen Buddhism and Chinese Kung Fu. Add a few characters and you have prime material for a semi-fictional hikayat to create a national identity. And if you question the role of fiction in building national identity, remember this: Records of the Three Kingdoms is a non-fiction work, but Romance of the Three Kingdoms is a novel loosely based on the Records of the Three Kingdoms. Very few Chinese read the records, but every single person in the Sinosphere knows the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, even the Japanese, the Koreans, and the Vietnamese.